During the Holocaust, the creation of ghettos was a key step in the German process of brutally separating, persecuting, and ultimately destroying Europe's Jews. It's important to understand that the Germans saw the ghettos as a provisional measure to control, segregate the Jews, while the Nazi leadership back in Berlin would think of, options on how to remove the Jewish population altogether. I'm standing here today in front of this incredible monument at Radogost station, or Radegast. I'm going to talk to you about a ghetto, a very important ghetto, the second biggest ghetto just after the Warsaw Ghetto. It's called the ŁÓDЬ Ghetto, or Litzmannstadt Ghetto. Boom! Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up, people? Hola, Vigo's Dad here. Welcome to another episode. Did you know that at the beginning of the war, 34% of ŁÓDź's 630,000 inhabitants at the time were Jewish? If you do the math, that comes out to around 220,000 people. So that means that this city was a very important cultural hub for the Jewish population. The Germans took over Łódź on the 8th of September of 1939, and the city was then renamed Litzmannstadt in honor of some General Karl von Litzmann, who had fought a battle near the city during World War I. In February of 1940, the creation of a Jewish ghetto in the northern edge of the city of Łódź was created. The Jews were forced to wear a yellow badge, their businesses were expropriated by the Gestapo, and after the invasion of Poland, many Jews, particularly the intellectual and political elite, had fled into the Soviet-occupied eastern Poland. And on the 30th of April 1940, the territory of the ghetto was closed off. 164,000 Jews from all over Łódź were closed off into an area of just 4 kilometers. There was this mistaken belief that productivity was the key to Jewish survival beyond the Holocaust. And there was a very dominant figure named Chaim Rumkowski who tried to ensure that labor productivity in the ghetto was as high as possible, and that all the prisoners that were capable of working were doing so to their maximum capacity. They were, of course, being just used for cheap labor, and in the end, their destiny was going to be met inside one of those carriages, old cattle carriages that would depart from this station to the different extermination camps that were set up around Poland. The ages of the people that were being exploited inside the ghetto ranged from just barely 10 years old all the way to 65. But you might ask, then what happened to the children? What happened to the elderly? The Germans, they were not tossing anything away. They had plans for everything. They had very macabre plans for everything and every single person. On the 28th of November of 1942, a camp for Polish children was opened. The official name of this camp was the Security Police Litzmannstadt Isolation Camp for Polish Youth. Think about how disturbing that is. A camp created solely for children. Over 1,000 children lived there, separated from their families, working more than 8 hours a day. They were fed very small rations of food that would starve them almost to death. They had very little water, practically no heating. The conditions were horrendous. But this was not just the children. This was generalized. Around 25% of the ghetto population, that's around 45,000 people, died of malnutrition and cold, and of course, diseases. From January 1942, deportations flowed from the ghetto on this very train station, the Radegast station. They will be transported to nearby Chełmno, a city that is about 50 kilometers north of Łódź, where prisoners were killed in mobile gas chambers at the Chełmno extermination camp. In the second wave of deportations in September of 1942, almost 20,000 prisoners were murdered, mostly children, old people, and the sick. Extermination camps were instruments of terror. Horrendous things would happen there. Criminal medical experiments. And these camps were the brainchild of two of the most vile people that have ever walked this earth. Of course, Heinrich Himmler and Hermann Göring. At the beginning of 1944, the Germans decided to close the ghetto. And then they sent off the remaining people that were there to the nearby extermination camps of Chełmno and Auschwitz. Right here behind me, you see a very interesting monument. These are death camps. Stutthof, Kulmhof am Neer. We see Auschwitz-Birkenau. They are represented here in this monument because many of the prisoners were transported from the ŁÓDBT ghetto directly to these camps. The shape of this monument, as you can see here, symbolizes the Jewish tombs called Matzewa or Masiba. In Polish, I think it's Matzew. They mean sacred pillar. It is used for a headstone or a tombstone marking a Jewish grave. On August 28 of 2005, a monument commemorating the Jewish victims and all of the victims who passed through the Radga station was unveiled. Based on the designs of Czesław Bielecki and featuring a 140-meter tunnel called the Tunnel of the Departed, now stands tall, helping us not to forget the past. These are the original tracks. This is the original station where so many people were sent off to their last destiny. I invite you guys to come and see these for yourself. It's an incredible thing. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of the episode. I hope you liked it. I love making episodes like this because I get to learn so much. If you're Polish, you know this. This is your history. You have seen it countless times. But if you're a foreigner like me, maybe you have a basic knowledge, of course, of history, World War II, Holocaust, Auschwitz, Birkenau. But coming to a place like this and seeing a monument as incredible as this one that commemorates a history of the ŁÓDBT ghetto, a ghetto that I was not aware of. And I don't know, if I can showcase a little bit of Polish culture out to the world, to other foreigners like me, to learn and to appreciate, then I am very happy. Thank you guys for watching. See you on another episode. Bye-bye.